Hey everyone, welcome back to another week on High Heels to Happy Feels. I'm Stephanie
And I'm Natalie.
from Immersive Spirit, and this week we took a look at some spiritual trends, right? We are on, of course, all the socials like everybody else, and we
Mhm.
came upon an interesting theory. It's the broken bone theory, and this one's trending pretty big on TikTok, but it's trending a lot of places, within social media. And I'm just going to read you like kind of a general of what this refers to. So it's a viral trend where people explore the idea that physical injuries, such as broken bones, can have a deeper emotional or spiritual meanings. This theory often connects physical pain or trauma to unresolved emotional issues or challenges in life. And what we're seeing is a lot of this theory goes on to say, um, if you've never broken a bone, you're more spiritual and that type of thing. And I kind of call bull on that one. But Nat, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that broken bones or necessarily anything in our body relates to our level of spirituality or how connected we really are. What do you think?
I agree. I don't think it's about the level. I do agree. I like the healing part of it.
Hmm.
That there could be something there that we've manifested for ourselves that we're saying, okay, this is broken because there's something else internally, whether it's physically, emotionally, spiritually, that I need to deal with. You and I were kind of talking about this beforehand, and I didn't break my first bone until, and it's the only one, knock on wood, I've still broken. Knock. Don't bark, puppy. Uh, in 2018 when I had my motorcycle accident. And if anything, I feel more connected because of the decisions I made around that about not having them, plate the nasty looking collarbone there, but by not putting the metal plates that would have to be readjusted and some of that. But it really made me very, very appreciative of the physical, of the financial, of a lot of different things. It grounded me in a different kind of way. I don't know. What's your thought?
Yeah, so I agree. And I think the way they broke it down, I aspire to some of the things that they said. I think like we talk about our connection with our spirit guides or our connection with each other.
Right.
And I think each of the items has a spiritual concept that it could be about, but I don't necessarily think that the overall arching broken bone thing, the theory in and of itself, I don't think is very black and white.
I agree.
I think there's a lot of color that we're going to add.
Agreed. Because I think if you look at it just even over history, right? And all the different cultures. And I mean, there's all sorts of different research out there about this phenomenon and broken bones and examining,
Hmm.
why you break a particular bone and what that means and what it means for you. It's going to vary by each individual person. It's going to vary by what you believe. It's going to vary by all of that because it's symbolic. And but the thing is, going back to what you said originally, I don't think it defines your level of spirituality. I think it's just it can be, especially if you're paying attention to, like you said, pay attention to what your guide's message is giving you, what you're hearing from the universe, what you're hearing from spirit, that it's telling you in one way or another to slow down or to examine a certain part of your life. I mean, I think that's kind of the symbolic representation on it, right? Where are you stuck? And culturally, all over the world and for hundreds and thousands of years, there's been different interpretations of that,
Yeah,
right?
I agree. Like even if we look at like the emotional or the physical connection to the things that are going on. So there are religions that ascribe to um breaks being a mirror to what's going on with you spiritually.
Hmm.
So, you know, and if you ascribe to those things, then of course you're going to believe in this. And I think really that's what the broken bone theory is breaking down to is people's religious beliefs. And we were all trained, to believe this or that. So you're going to
Right.
be very defensive of however that's turning out. But not every injury is going to have a deeper meaning. And reflect on the context. Like with your collarbone, if you step back and you look at that and you had a motorcycle accident, it was scary. You were in the hospital. Um, but did you think like anything else was going on in your life at that time that was reflective of that area? Or do you think that you missed signs or synchronicities from your spirit guides that were like, we don't want you to own a motorcycle. We don't
Yeah.
want you to be the driver. We don't like, are you paying attention to us? No, you're not. Here you go.
And because I mean, you're my sister. And so all of it that led up to that, where the first motorcycle that I had purchased and because of where I live in Montana was being delivered and it was destroyed on the way here in another motorcycle in another accident. That
With
vehicle
the
that
semi truck, yeah.
uh-huh. With the truck that was pulling my bike up here was hit by a drunk driver, and that bike was destroyed. And so another bike was then shipped, and kudos to them. It took a while to work out with all the different nuances. And this was legitimately my maiden ride on that bike. It was a very small, very, very small, as in like 2 miles trip around my neighborhood just to ride it, and I was in an accident. So, yeah, was it a giant sign from the universe to be like, hi, you disregarded the truck that hit the motorcycle, so now we're going to put you into a tree. All right,
Well,
thanks.
and so hindsight's always 2020 though.
Right.
You,
Oh,
you
it
can you can
totally
look
is.
back at everything bad that happened in your life and be like, oh, this was a red flag.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
This
oh
was
my
a
God. But
yo,
but
stop.
there were some things that came from it too that are pure joy that I would not have embraced at that moment either. Being in the hospital, so and Shane knows I use his name on the podcast. He doesn't care anymore. Um, that he and I had just started dating a few months
Right.
before, and he never left me. I mean, until he had to go back to work, and he was in Minnesota still at the time. And mom flew up and took his place here at the house, and she came in
Mhm.
and helped. But he was with me. He put me in the shower. I mean, right from a hospital moo with nasty, greasy hair after being in basically like a urgent care type room for 3 days while they watched and made sure my liver wasn't beyond the laceration and wasn't going to bleed. Um, yeah. And that was the first time I ever told him I loved him. So,
Right, but okay, yes, I
but I mean,
agree.
so
It
that
showed you who he was.
it showed, yes. And would that have happened that quickly? Would I have
Well,
known
no,
the kind of
probably not.
magic that was behind him and what kind of person he was? So I'm trying to take the good from it, right? Ultimately,
I
the
would too.
the
You guys would have
giant
gotten there,
flag from
but
it was, yo, beach. You weren't supposed to ever have that motorcycle. You're not supposed to own. You're a great passenger. And
right.
there I am. I'm the biker bitch on the back, and I own it and I love it, and I'm good with that. I still have my big truck. I still have things that I dominate at, and I'm good. I don't need a
Yeah.
bike.
And the thing, so everybody needs to know, both Steph and I are endorsed to own motorcycles, and since she has had her accident, like the thought of owning a motorcycle has never even crossed my mind since then. So I'm listening to,
She's listening to my guides.
to
Yeah,
your spirit guides. I'm like, yeah,
right.
no.
Well, and the fun about that too is, I mean, our dad rides, Shane rides. I mean, we still go to Sturgis, we still do all these things,
Hmm.
and I love the motorcycle mentality. I love everything about it. I have a very good time going to the rallies and so on, and just the freedom it gives you. But that was a also first bone ever broken, and I mean, you can it's very pretty right here where it's broke. And but I own it, and it's kind of a sense of pride of remembering, and it did force me to do a little work on myself. And so I think from the bone aspect of that, it brought me into several different awarenesses. One of my spirituality, one of my mortality,
Yeah.
um, and one of that emotional, just fully exposed. I mean, literally and physically, emotionally, I was raw. And there was no um Yeah, I don't even know how to describe it beyond that because it's not like you're close to death because you are in the hospital and they're monitoring you and I'm okay. Everything internally is okay. They're just monitoring to make sure it stays that way. But it still makes you just very much appreciate and go, oh, liver, thank you. What a good little liver I have, and be
Mhm.
kind to you. And oh, what about my kidneys? Yep, I love you too. And what about, yeah. And so yeah. And I don't, I think it made me more spiritual, to be quite honest with you. Breaking that bone, then it disconnected me.
Yeah. Okay. So you're mentioning the healing process for that. And because this is our only, like I haven't broken a bone, so this is kind of our only purview into the topic that we're discussing this week is
Well, but
Stephanie's
the thing
story.
is,
So
part of the
we're
topic
hanging
is
out with it. Huh?
right. But part of the topic is that if you've never broken a bone, you're more spiritual. So, it's interesting because I've broken a bone. You've never broken a bone. So, yeah, keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no, so you were kind of talking about the healing process. So the TikToker group also suggests that the healing process of the broken bone mirrors the process of your emotional healing.
Mhm.
So as everything takes time to mend, in both of those processes, you rebuild your strength, you're rebuilding your spiritual strength. Um, what do you think about that?
Yes. That part I would tend to agree with, but that's just based on
Okay.
my scenario and what I just said.
Right.
And I
Right. And
think
that's
that's
all we
going to,
can base it on.
right. You can only base it on your own personal experience. I think for me, because I was already a spiritual being, um, that, because number one, it was a tree that did this, and the tree is fine. And
And the
so
tree did not jump out in front
the
of her
tree did not
like
jump
she just
out.
said the tree did this. The tree did not do this.
Well, me hitting the tree did
Okay.
this to me.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. Let's just put this out here really quick. So I was at a stop sign. I the bike stalled because of a lip in the asphalt, and when I went to go throttle, I throttled in too hard, and instead of making my left turn, I freaked and went straight and went right into a whole bunch of trees on the side of our
Yeah.
road. I could literally walk to my driveway from where we were at. I mean, we're like two houses down, that close. So when they say most accidents happen within a mile of home, it's no bull. Anyway, so the tree, yes, did not jump out, and the tree is fine. The bushes
Right.
around it, maybe not so much, but the tree actually saved my life too. And that was made very clear to me. Dad and all his friends were here shortly after. They're all in law enforcement. They're under sheriffs, retired sheriffs.
They all rode their bikes up, right?
They all rode their motorcycles up. We were all
Right.
supposed to be riding together to go on over to Sturgis. And um, yeah, and it was they went and looked at the scene because that's what they do. They're
Because
gonna
they're
go look.
cops. Yeah.
And when the bike hit the tree, when I hit it, it kept me. So the tree's here, and the tire's like right here by the tree, and it caught the handlebar. And because it caught the handlebar right here, it basically kept me propped up. I hit it, and so I fell off, which is where, between the connection here and hitting the front, which is where the laceration in the liver came from, potentially the broken bone, but then I fell off. But the bike was still standing and going, and it had to be turned off. And had it kept going, there was another tree right behind that it would have caught me the other direction, and there'd have been a lot more damage.
Huh.
So
Yeah.
that same tree saved my life. So it's all in how you look. It's all perspective. But would
Right.
I have known that without my dad and the guys going down and basically doing a crime scene, road
Crime scene investigation. Yeah.
right, and going out and saying, "Okay, so we looked this over and we're walking this out, and here's what you did. Here's exactly how it
And
happened."
congratulations, you might be dead if that tree hadn't
Right.
stopped.
The tree kind of saved you, kid, because otherwise you'd have kept going and it would have gone right here into this tree, and then the bike would have landed on you. And so, yeah. So,
A
yay,
little more
tree.
forgiving. Yeah, that's good. Okay,
Right.
so clearly you've thought about this because
Right. Because there's a lot there. So, the,
Mhm.
the broken bone part was, I think, it's a symptom. is all it really is. It's a symptom of a bigger thing. And so for me, it was perspective into, like I said, mortality, emotional healing, and all of that. But then it was a lot of other moving pieces that went with it. The foreshadowing before with the bike that I didn't pay
Hmm.
attention to and chose to ignore when everybody else is like, "Are you sure?" It's kind of like when I got married too. I mean, I actually had one of my bridesmaids tell me, "Why are you doing this? You shouldn't marry him." Yeah. Red flag. When your bridesmaids tell you on your wedding day, you still have an opportunity to walk away. Don't do it. Eh, and 7 years later, you're divorced. Okay. Well, there
No,
you go.
yeah, take them seriously. So, but
Right.
I think you're highlighting the point of, so we're looking at it from two
World.
different lenses. Um, we're looking at it from, are you spiritually connected enough to not have accidents or broken bones?
Right.
Or when you do have that, what does that, what kind of spiritual path does that put you on? So
Right.
there's kind of two different purviews that this looks like.
I
Because
agree.
I don't buy in a lot to like symbolic representation in my body. Like when my stomach gets ill, it's because I've caught a bug, likely. You know, I don't attribute it to anything going on in my sacral or solar that would make me feel that way.
Okay.
Um, and I think that is probably more around like what the arguments are happening on TikTok.
And that's valid.
Yeah.
And I think it makes sense too, because but you also have to look at it like if my stomach is weird or I'm anxious about something, and there's a physical effect to that. It's like, okay, what is it? Is it something physical that's bugging me? Did I eat some
Yeah.
chocolate that was maybe, 1 pound too much of chocolate? Did I, is there something that I physically did to cause this, or do I need to sit back with it?
And
And,
we're actually going over this tomorrow in remote viewing
oh,
because
yeah.
advanced technique for tomorrow is the layers,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
which
Yeah. Oh,
I
that's going to
do
be
do
good.
that. So I can't say that I don't attribute illness to other things because I do my layering and I'm like, is that with me? But I guess I always make those assumptions that everybody just knows what I know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? So like when I know it's my stomach, I'm like, okay, that's a stomach bug because I've already layered the work and is like,
Right.
is anything emotional going on? Is anything in my energy going on? Is there anything at my desk going on? And I get all no, and I'm like, okay, it's a stomach bug.
Yeah. Yeah. By the time you've hit physical to know where it is, you've already snapped through it in your head of going, okay, what's going on?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's unfair because
Yeah.
I actually do go through the layers.
Right. That makes sense. And I was going to say, I thought you did, but yeah. And
You're
it's
like,
just, but
wait,
you're right.
what?
Not everybody automatically does that, right? And it's practice.
Hmm.
It's a form of shadow work. And I know, there you go, people. There's your term. I use it all the time. Shadow work. So because it is a form of
Yeah, it is.
understand, excuse me, of understanding a deeper meaning to something and to recognizing what that is. Are you physically ill? Did your kid, because kids are walking petri dishes, did they go to school and come home with every cootie known to mankind and now you're sick?
Yeah.
Or are you sick because your body's worn out and told you you've spent too much time on project A, you need to be on project B or C or whatever that might
Right.
be. And projects meaning not just work. I mean, it could be your project is your family, your project is your self-growth, your project is just self-care. I mean, it could be any number of things.
Your
But
solar goals, whatever
yeah,
that.
those
Yeah.
solar goals, exactly. And so yeah, I like the theory. I like the theory around the conversation that it's bringing up.
Yeah.
But because I think in that part it's cool because it made us talk about it, right? We're like, huh,
That's interesting. Yeah.
right? But I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you this morning going, do you feel more spiritual than me? Because you haven't broken
I've
a
never
bone.
broke a bone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. I feel definitely more protected and that my spirit guides care more about me than yours do about you.
Right? Right? Whereas mine was just my spirit guides going, well, yo, Missy, we gave you a sign. You
We
didn't.
gave you 14 stop signs and you ran them all.
You blazed right through. And so the last one, we gave you a tree. There you
Right.
go.
You're
And
not
we
ignoring this.
survive it so that we hope you got it this time. And I'm like, yes, bike gone.
Yeah, bike's gone. Shane drives now. Although, okay, so I want to step back though, because for the folks that listen to our podcast, I think it's important that let's give you just a little bit of tips and tricks and tools for things about, because when I say I'm looking at my layers,
Yeah,
a really good way to practice that is when you go out to dinner or you're outside of your house or even inside of your house, walking room to room, stop yourself and actually think, how does this room feel to me? How does it feel on my skin? And
yes.
then think, how does it feel energetically to me? Is it pressuring in? Is it out? Do I feel something in my stomach, my feet? Like ask your questions. And the more you do that, the more you just walk in a room and you're like energy, emotion, you can pull all those things quickly, which I think Stephanie and I have been doing for so long. That was the assumption that I made. So that's how you practice. What other things would you say about practicing that way?
No, I love that because that's
Okay.
very much like, we've got this whole 7-week series going right now that's free
Mhm.
around working with your spirit guides, right? And one of those tips that I love is around the colors, but the rooms is the same thing, right? If you're associating colors and for us in the States, you think red, yellow, green. Green is go, yellow is pause, red means stop. If you're giving a question to your guides and saying, show me green, yellow, or red, and which way I'm supposed to go on this, I just don't know. Watch for those colors to appear. And that room one that you just talked about is very, very similar, right? It's the same thing because what you're doing is this a go? Is this a pause? Is this a stop? And by recognizing whether you associate it with colors, because what those colors are teaching you is how do you feel when you see green? How do you feel when you see yellow? How do you feel when you see red?
Yep.
When you're in that state, right? Not just because you have a red sweater and it looks great on you, but when you're in that state and asking that question, what does that mean for you? And I
And
think that's really good case.
that's a great point because if you practice from a place of safety where you're asking these questions about show me what no means,
Yeah,
rather than them trying to show you at the time no, but you don't understand what it is. And
right.
the more you work with it, the more sensitive you get to it. Like I'm talking about rooms because that's very broad. You can walk
Yeah.
into a room and you can get down to a point that when you're out to dinner, you can walk by tables and know that this couple's on their first date just because of the emotion.
Right, because you can feel it's heightened, right? The
Right.
energy, the tension, and yeah.
You can
Or this
get really
couple,
refined, but
right,
doing it from a place of safety when you practice.
right. Absolutely. And it is when you go for a walk, ask those questions. And when you are walking around the corner and looking at this house or this building or this tree, what do you feel? And
Hmm.
is it a particular energy? And that is where you learn to really then in those bigger, more crowded experiences like a room full of people where you do recognize that you walk by a table and go, oh my gosh, this couple's in their 80s, but they're celebrating their 5-year wedding anniversary, right?
Right.
That you just can kind of feel those different things, or these people are expecting and she doesn't know yet. And it's just an energy that comes from somebody's glow, their aura, all these different pieces that are working there because you've paid attention to what is yes, what is pause, what is no.
Yeah.
And
Start small and just keep adding layers.
absolutely. Absolutely.
All
And no,
right, so I totally derailed us.
oh no, but it's all tips and tricks, right? And
Yeah,
that's
yeah, that's good. That's
because
good.
we start with the bone theory, but we ultimately want to talk about ways that you should be listening. How do you avoid the broken
Hmm.
bones to
That's true.
begin with, right? Mine was not, as Natalie said, running 15 big red stop signs before before getting the final, oh, here's your hard red stop. And bank.
Yes, and that happened years ago for her. So it
2018.
yeah,
Yeah. So,
and she had the total realization of what that was. But it's strange because we've even had our most recent mentor. She calls them the Mack trucks. You're going to get those pebbles, and they're going to keep you on path. And if you
mhm,
ignore them, the pebbles are going to become 2x4s, and they're going
right.
to try to force you back on path. And if you ignore those, like it's just going to keep getting bigger until you are hit by a Mack truck, and that's
Uh-huh.
going to stop you, and it's going to put you back on your path.
Exactly. The truck's like, "Hi. Well, you missed every little grain of sand I threw
Right.
at you." And then I started putting some bigger rocks, and then there was a boulder that went off the road. And I hit you with a 2x4, and so yeah, now you're done.
Yeah, we just want less Mack trucks for everybody who listens to us.
Exactly,
So start
exactly.
paying attention now. Start
Pay
practicing
attention
about
to the
your
pebbles, right?
sensitivities. Yeah.
When they're dropping the grands, pay attention. And Bo, has been an amazing one of our mentors, and
Yes.
it's a good one. It's a good one. I think another really fun tip, easy one to play with, right? Get a coin. And
Hmm.
just if you're trying to figure out how you feel about something, use a coin. And this is one of the tips I gave, I think, on yesterday's part of the series. Flip a coin. Ask your question, give it to your guides. And how do you feel with the energy based on heads? How do you feel with the energy based on tails? There you go, right? And now you're just dealing with a yes or a no, stop or go, um, forward, backward, positive, negative. I mean, all these different things that you can be doing with just a simple coin toss. I mean, a penny out of your wallet.
Yeah, that's a great point. So that's a physical thing that you can do. That's an action. That's like working with pendulum or
Right.
other things that you can hold in your hand. When you work with the red, yellow, green, though, that's going to become a dictionary item for you.
Right.
So when you see things like maybe you see a stoplight when you're working initially with red, yellow, green, and you're trying to figure out yes, no, go. Um, and eventually, like some object shows up to you in yellow. Well, maybe you start learning that that object is telling you, yes,
Uh-huh.
it's that's part of the answer, but it's also to be a warning or slow down or, so you can incorporate those colors and other things too, and they can become dictionary items for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's the coin flip is, I mean, it could be like you pull a wishbone with somebody, make a wish. It could be, it's
Wishbone, that's funny, Stephanie. You got to step back and
the
laugh.
bone. Yeah, okay, well, there's that.
It's a collarbone, wishbone. Yeah, it's funny.
Mhm.
Anyway, go on.
All right, I did kind of go there, and that was unintentional. See, my guides have a sense of humor. What can I tell you?
They do
They're
indeed.
they're like, here, use this one as a reference. Okay, no irony there. Uh, but it's something symbolic, and it is something physical, and it's something tangible that you're playing with. But it is, to your point, like you said, it's to make you work with your intuition so that when you feel yes or you feel no, the red, yellow, green of a situation, it's
Yeah.
it becomes something in your gut that you just feel. You just know, right? It's like your clairs. You've developed it so much, you've worked with it so much, whether it's the coin, whether it's asking the questions and looking for those colors, or looking for a particular flower, or looking for whatever it is when you're walking that is going to help you with those triggers,
Hmm.
that when it comes into a room situation or group situations, it's very, very easy to shake somebody's hand and be like, ooh, hard no.
Heebie-jeebies, yeah.
Yep,
Heebie-jeebies,
hard no.
no.
And it's not just because they're bad energy and, some sort of Scrooge that you're talking to that you just kind of look at and feel like, okay, this person gives me the creeps. There is
Right.
true energy behind a smile, and you go, yeah, that's not for me. Let's just say hello and nice to meet you and move on.
Yeah, and they may not be a bad person either. That's
But
just
nope,
their
but they're just
energy
not right
is
for you. They're just
right.
not, yeah. There's something about that person that their energy is not in your time right now.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
and then there's a lot to be said around energy too, because so that's energy of the people.
Right.
So Stephanie and I, we do haunting work and
A lot.
clearing like real estate work, just to raise energy of homes. And I do think that because I've lived in a lot of places that have been haunted,
Mm,
not understanding that it was really me that
yeah.
was the haunted
Right.
one,
Right. And
but
it's
the
not that you're
energy,
haunted, it's just that
they just spirits hung out with me a lot.
spirits understand that Natalie's a
Yeah.
portal and a door that she can easily help them cross. Her mediumship skills have gone way up because of a lot of it. But she's an easy person for them to just kind of, oh, we'll go follow along with her, because the fact is, once she pays attention to this, she's going to cross us.
Yeah. So that's my sister patting me on the back.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Uh, so, but I think the energy of other people's houses, like people get physically ill
Uh,
I'm not going to say broken bones necessarily, although I guess it could be, but their energetic environment, not only external to them, but internal to them. So, like,
yeah,
if you start feeling sick and you're like, it doesn't, where did I get this? I don't, Steph and I don't go anywhere. We sit at our houses all day and work.
right,
So we don't get bugs unless my kid brings it in.
right.
So if something were to be happening with me, I would check in on that first through those layers. And then
Mhm.
if not, I might go see like a Reiki practitioner or do a chakra balance or, trying to figure out where that is. Because there's
Right,
energies internal to us too.
right. And you always want to examine that, but you never want to ignore the physical. We will
Mhm.
always be the first after I do Reiki for somebody. If they still feel like they're just really nauseous or something, if they're 100% sure internally to themselves that it's spiritual, then see another Reiki master, right? You're not going to hurt my feelings because that you're seeking spiritual guidance, but um never underestimate your medical practitioner either.
Right.
If you are truly sick or there is something burning that's wrong, you need to go see somebody and make sure there's not a bigger thing. Because just the whole thing about like going back to the broken bone theory and saying, well, if you broke a bone, you're not spiritual. That's like saying, well, if you got cancer, you're not very spiritual because if you were connected, you wouldn't get cancer. Well, that's kind of bullshit. That's not true. You're gonna there's environmental factors in everybody's life. There's genetics in everybody's life. Some people just have incredibly soft bones. It's gonna happen. And you just yeah. So I agree.
Well, and
but you have to
I
listen.
also, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say you just have to listen. Go ahead.
I also don't think that spirituality is going to break your bones.
No,
Like I don't think that
no.
there's ever a time and place where yes, okay, so you didn't listen to some spiritual signs and
Right.
ultimately ended up breaking your bone, but that was not the plan of your spirit guides.
No. And my spirit guides didn't reach out and break my collarbone.
Right.
Me
Like your
on a
spirituality
motorcycle
did not
running
do that.
into a hard object called a tree broke my collarbone. And that was the effect. The cause was me not listening. And that's the difference, right? The effect
Yeah.
is something that came from it's very causal and effect. And if you're not paying attention, this causes this to happen. And yeah.
Right. Yeah. So there's another big one on TikTok, the manifesting manifestation. I can't remember exactly what that was about, but like
What the
you're
hell?
manifesting your own broken bones,
Oh, good God.
self-sabotage or negative or something like that.
Oh, you know, that's
I don't
cute.
think I'm by much into that either. Like you can
No,
self-inflict that, but
you can absolutely set yourself up for failure in any aspect of your life. And
hmm
if that is just anything, everything you do. But manifesting manifestation, I think that's a crock. I think, yes, you manifest things, period. I don't think you're manifesting manifestation of something. That is like, it's like I don't know, it's like an oxymoron, double entendre, something. I don't know. That's not the right grammar, but I think that's crap. Because the fact is, if I'm putting out, I'm having a bad day. Everything's really bad today. Everything's really bad. Guess what? It's gonna suck. You're gonna have a crappy day. And
right.
if you're
You're playing with
deciding,
the subatomic levels and the
yes,
reality fields and
yes,
like
and
you're
the
pulling it
universe is
in.
gonna be like, well, okay, then if that's the direction you want to go today, but we had you set up for success. Okay, whatever. But you have choices to make. Everything is a choice.
hmm
I mean, I taught my stepkids that raising them, even if you don't make a choice, it's a choice. And so by waking up and saying, today's great. Like you and I, when we get up in the morning, feet hit the ground, we reach out to our guide team, we reach out to spirit and say, immersive spirit's open. If there's anybody that we can be of service to, send them our way. If there's anybody we can learn from, send them our way. Because everything's got a lesson behind it too. It's not just about what we can share, it's about what we can learn. That's the first step in positive. Making the bed in the morning to be like, task done. All right, step in positive. if I just said, oh, to hell with it, I don't want to do any of it today. It's all awful and everything sucks. Well, all day is going to be gloomy. I'm going to eat bad. I'm going to do bad things. And then tomorrow's going to be gloomy too. You're manifesting your bad mood. You're manifesting your bad environment because you're letting yourself do it. Yeah, there's some self-talk involved. And yeah, there's shadow work again, potentially, because why
Mhm.
are you manifesting your bad day? But I don't agree with the theory of manifesting manifestation. I think that's a little excessive, but I don't know. What do you think? I still,
Yeah, I agree with all that you've said.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was easy.
Well, you covered all the topics. I think it's good. For like quantum models and biofeedbacks and yeah, it all makes sense.
Yeah,
But I totally agree. Totally agree.
yeah. I think if you are, even if you don't believe the theory of spirit guides or guide communication, if
Hmm.
you're into astrology, which I love astrology, as you know, and I know you love astrology. I mean, that's a big heart plug for us. Listen, look at the stars. Just check out your map for the day. Look at where the moon is. Look at where you're sitting in your houses right now. Check it out, right? Because it could be that that particular lunar day for you in this sign in this house right now is just a day where it's like, today's a good day to not be around people. Why don't you work on things at home and chill out? Okay, cool.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and that's okay. Uh,
For sure.
because but that is just guidance in another capacity, right? It's still ultimately universe speaking to you in some direction. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is if like you're in that TikTok argument or conversation about how this is working, it's not really an argument, but people come from different perspectives.
Yeah.
If you're of the perspective that it is a symbolic representation, then I encourage you to look at your broken leg symbolically and tell me how you can't move forward or or how that has come for
Right.
you.
Right.
Or, your broken arm means that you can't give or receive. So maybe there's things you gotta work there. So if you do honor that kind of connection, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that that should go away for you. I just don't personally ascribe to that.
I don't either, but I agree with you on the point that if it is something you do ascribe to,
Hmm.
then you need to be examining the positive side of that. What is being
For
said to you?
sure.
So if you did break your right arm and you write with your right hand and you can't write right now, well, what does that mean? All right, maybe I should record my thoughts. Maybe I should play with writing with my left hand and see what that does. Maybe I should, I mean, what else can I be doing then to grow? If you're ascribing to the fact that you intentionally brought this on yourself and that you purposely broke your right arm, what does that mean for your left arm? What does that mean for what you should be doing in its place that you should be developing?
Yeah. Is it adaptability? Is it flexibility? Is it
Yeah.
communication, levels of communications? Like just
Yeah.
dig in and ask yourself questions, however
Yeah.
you look at it.
I love that. I think
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah. Not our jam, but yeah, we get it. We get it. But it is a learning experience no matter how you look at a broken bone.
Yeah.
No matter the broken bone theory in and of itself. I mean, it's an interesting conversation around being more spiritual. I don't buy that. I
Yeah. I
do,
don't buy that either.
but I do agree that if you believe that, that's what's going to happen for you. So it's part of
Yeah.
that manifesting. If you believe that you have been targeted to break that bone, why? Why do you believe that? Why are you ascribing to that theory versus examining maybe was there something before that that I missed? Or what have I learned
Mhm.
from it that I can glean from this and make it a better experience going forward? Yeah.
That like reminds me of curses. Well,
Yeah.
we'll have to talk about that some other day because curses can go deep, but like
No, but
when you
yeah, no,
give curses power, that's when they have power over you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's part of that's part of ground clear protect and protect your space. Um, yeah. Because if you have set yourself up that you are in a protected environment all the time, and somehow you still believe there's a curse impacting you, you're giving it power. And you're giving power to the person that gave you the curse.
Right.
And that is no good. That's no good.
Shield
But if,
your energy, people.
no, but if you believe for some reason that you are cursed, or there's something deeper going on that is more paranormal,
Hmm.
um, it's not like we're not happy to help you figure that out too.
Yeah, we'll help or get help or whatever you, when you ask yourself, what do I need?
Yeah.
Listen to the answer
Yes.
and do that.
And do it. Yep. Yeah. And listen from a place of honesty. And again, trust the red, green, yellow. So if you're feeling like it's saying go do this, but you're feeling also that red energy, that stop, what's talking to you? You know, are you what part of your psyche is talking to you? What part of your guides? What part of your communication? Is it something in the interference? So sit with it. Yeah, and you're right. We could go really deep on the curses part.
Well, and so like now we're really, everything comes down to being mindful
Absolutely.
about where you're at, paying attention, asking the questions, stopping and listening.
Yep.
And
Yep.
that's hard to do sometimes.
It is. You, living intentionally, which you and I are,
That's our gig, man.
that's our jam. And we preach about it all the time. And that's, you can find it, everything on our site even is
Yeah,
living
we even have a 6 week
course.
course for it.
Yeah. Our 6 week course will be coming out for about living intentionally, right?
Yeah.
And that's um our offering that we'll be putting out. And it is. It's living in your moment and living intentionally and how you want to direct the narrative of your life, of your
Yep.
human,
It is a
if you're,
choice.
of your human existence, right?
Yep.
And the plane that we're on right now. Yeah.
On our linear time, in our
Yeah.
plane, like, oh my
Woohoo.
goodness.
Oh yeah, I know. I told you with the I Ching, I'm on a whole new thing with timelines and stuff. So yeah, that'll be for another conversation another day. Woo. Anyway. Yeah, I think
Awesome.
that's a good place to wrap up though. What do you think?
So eventually we're going to have content around I Ching or I Ching.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We still
Not,
have like
not
so
anytime
much of our
soon.
own
I've
stuff
got
that we've got to do.
No, I've got a runes
I
course I'm
know, I know.
completing right now. We've got two astrology courses that need done. You've got two courses you're working on. We've got our bigger programs. We've got
Well, and we have all of those in the wings, like auras, akashics, and like the
oh
stuff we
yeah.
know, we just don't have it on paper or even
Right. Oh
outlined
yeah.
yet. People, we got a lot going on. And we're still doing psychic readings and house clearings and haunting work
On the
on top
remote
of it.
viewing
I don't
workshop
know what we're
tomorrow.
doing
I know. Dang.
other than not being smart about our time, but that's okay because we love what we do.
I'm waiting for a guide to step in and be like, no, you can stop. No, no, they keep saying,
No, they're
go, go, go,
like
go.
getting slaps. Go
Right?
get them.
Go get it right. Here's one more too. And we're like, but we don't have time. No, you have time. You have time. No, wait.
I
Oh,
can't stand those anymore. I like
I know. It's like, no,
started
I'm gonna write it down.
started taking notes on auras, and I'm like, I know about auras, and they're like, no, you need to write it down. It's like, not right now, and they're like, yes, right now.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And
Oh,
the Akashic records, of course, you're like, no, that all needs written out and that needs to be presented. And you're going,
right. Like I need
okay,
to
well, let
outline
me,
that and think about how I want to bring across what we know about that.
right. I know. God, we're on a
I can't with them.
treadmill.
You can't not pay attention because I don't need a Mack truck either.
No, nope. It's like write it down and okay, I'll get there.
Yep,
And
I'm on it because I'm so stressed
right,
out. Right.
right. Tell me, it's almost like I want to just, I wish our guides, if I could ask this, would give us a calendar. Not just more
Oh, I
content.
haven't thought about that.
You know what I mean? It's like, can we have a calendar of exactly because we know what we human mind want to develop and we start on that. And then they're like, ooh, but you need to do this. Oh, and you got to go over here and do this. And oh, don't forget this. And you're like, but
Yeah, tell me what you want first because I'm up to like 15 things that I need to do,
right. Could you
not working my
prioritize
full-time
this
job.
list for me? I think I should. That's what we should do is write it down. Let's do the green. Yeah. Well, you and
I
I'll talk
mean,
after.
I was gonna say, yeah, let's meet after the podcast and
Yeah.
maybe kind of get this
Go
cross
through
figured
our
out.
list
There's
and be
so
like,
much.
okay, you need to green, red, and yellow this for us because yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Let's totally do that.
Oh my God, I just snagged my sweater. Okay.
See, that's
Perfect.
just another thing that they're like stepping in, going, yeah, try that.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, so we should end this so we can meet and get all cleared out.
Oh, well, we saved our squirreling for the end, folks. clearly we have a lot coming up, a lot going on. Everything is out on our website, as always, immersivespirit.com, except for the freebies that we mentioned. Those you can find on our YouTube channel. So that is our um, 11 tools in 7 weeks. There's that one. So we're giving some really cool tools and tips there. We've got our spirit guide, which is the 7 week one. I just finished week 3 yesterday. It does, I know it sounds like I'm reading a little, but I have to read a little because otherwise I'll forget the tips that I want to share with everybody. So my apologies for that when I'm like looking away on those notes. Um, we've also got,
Looking at your notes just means that you're a good faith teacher and you don't want to screw up the things that you
I
want to
don't
get.
want to screw up the message. Yeah, I
Yeah,
really
I
don't.
wouldn't worry about it. People know that.
Yeah, I hope so.
They
And
do.
then Natalie's got the manifesting one that she's got going on right now, which leads into our bigger manifestation course. And that is February 14th that starts?
18th.
18th.
18th. And it's moved over to a self-paced course, but you can only take, I think, one course a week.
Okay. And that
Something.
is good. But yes, there's live sessions and a lot that goes on with that, as well as a fun kit that you get of some crystals and a kaleidoscope and some other things, because we do follow a lot of Dr. Joe Dispenza in terms of the manifestation pieces. So we
Yeah,
ascribe
it's a
to a lot
mix
of that.
between like Abraham Hicks and Joe Dispenza and
And
Deepak
yeah,
Chopra.
yeah,
There's a lot of people and influence going on in there.
yeah.
But we also have our 6 week course, which is the first week should be available Monday. And that's only like $37. And that teaches you how to live independent or live intentionally. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited about that. But we have a lot of things that can lead you into that too. So all these little freebies can help you get there.
Yes, absolutely. So anyway, a lot going on. Check out our website. Follow us on YouTube. We have no clue what's going on in the TikTok world, but we're on Instagram. We are on YouTube. We are on Blue Sky. We love Blue Sky. We've been out there, gosh, almost a month now, but we love Blue Sky. We did ditch our Facebook page. So just for those that are still listening, Facebook has put in some serious restrictions in terms of they've got a very long list, and we're happy to share that link with anybody who wants to see it. Um, of people that it just says very generically that they can go in and alter the data source, which data sources are what works behind the scenes to kind of do the analytics for anybody who advertises. And that's a very shortened version of what a data source is. But we
Right.
work with them daily in our corporate jobs. And the data sources are what basically target your audience. So they're limiting that. And there is a whole bunch of groups on there that they're basically saying, we're not going to use any data sourcing for you if you're in one of these groups, which means that your message goes out to every potential troll in the universe and people that aren't interested in learning anything about spirituality. So kind of a game changer in terms of being on the meta platforms. So we left Threads and we left Facebook, but we did leave Instagram simply because it's a more positive environment there, and we don't do advertising on
Yeah,
Instagram.
Reels is kind of fun.
And
So,
Reels. Yeah, the Reels are fun. They're fun to go through.
and it keeps
So
our Pinterest page up to date.
yeah, and it does. It's linked to our Pinterest page. So, yep. So anyway, Blue Sky, Instagram, Pinterest, of course. YouTube is our big channel for all of our daily videos, all the freebie content that you can just go right there and find it all. It makes it simple. I think that's it. Holy moly, I think I spent more time talking about that than we did the podcast. So,
Yeah, but we're gonna go do green, yellow, red now.
yeah, we are. So, Stephanie,
And Natalie.
from Immersive Spirit and from another episode of High Heels to Happy Feels, we say thank you very much. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you again next week. Bye bye.